The diaspora represents, first, a critical source of foreign exchange inflows. Second, a powerful channel for technology transfer and innovation. And third, an important bridge to global capital markets. However, unlocking this full potential requires a deliberate transition. A transition from consumption-driven remittances to investment-oriented diaspora capital. Equally important is the intentional inclusion of our second-generation Ghanaians, whose engagement will depend on modern, digital, and identity-linked approaches that reflect evolving preferences and investment engagement. So this gathering reflects our shared commitment to strengthening the relationship between Ghana and its diaspora, recognizing that diaspora capital, remittance, and expertise, these are all integral to Ghana's macroeconomic stability and long-term growth. Colleagues, over the past year in Ghana, our macroeconomic framework has been recalibrated to ensure stability, to ensure predictability, and to ensure investor confidence. Inflation dynamics, as some of you will be aware, these have improved significantly. The external sector remains resilient, and our financial system continues to demonstrate soundness and adaptability. Our gross international reserves have strengthened, improving import cover, while the cedi has shown considerable resilience, supported by appropriate policy tightening and effective liquidity management. My objective this evening, colleagues, is to set out with clarity the role of the Bank of Ghana and to engage you on how we can transform our remittance flows into formal foreign exchange and channel them into investable capital through the financial system in Ghana. Colleagues, remittance inflows remain a cornerstone of Ghana's external sector. And let me give you some data. In 2024, and that was before I came on, Ghana recorded approximately $4.6 billion in remittance.
You should put it back down.
These flows continued to rise through last year, 2025. We recorded nearly $7.8 billion by the end of last year. So at roughly 6% of GDP in real terms, remittances now exceed foreign direct investment, underscoring their systemic importance. Amen to that. Now, remittance products in Ghana are quite diverse and have evolved rapidly, driven through effective collaboration with banks, mobile money operators, fintech innovation, and strong diaspora influence. I can give examples. There's the bank-based remittance products, there's the mobile money remittance products, there's the fintech or digital remittance apps, which some of them use, cross-border payment platforms and aggregators. And then, of course, there's the cash pickup and agent network products also being used as channels. Accordingly, recent policy actions are focused on enhancing formal remittance capture, strengthening transparency in the foreign exchange market, supporting the digital cross-border payment systems, and improving the integrity, quality, and reporting of remittance data. For us at the Bank of Ghana, we are aligning this approach with international best practice. We are exploring diaspora bonds and structured investment vehicles in collaboration with the designated NPOs, promoting foreign currency denominated investment products through supervised industry players, strengthening regulatory frameworks for cross-border flows, and establishing more structured and continuous diaspora engagement platforms. Also, we are leveraging fintech partnerships to reduce remittance costs and settlement frictions, including the responsible use of digital ledger and tokenization-based models to improve speed, to improve traceability, and to improve efficiency in cross-border remittance and investment flows. We are doing all this within a sound regulatory and supervisory framework. We are working to ensure that when a Ghanaian in Washington or elsewhere decides to invest in Ghana, whether in government securities, whether in SMEs, whether in fintechs, whether in real estate, or whether in infrastructure, that the pathway to doing this is seamless, it is credible, and it is rewarding. These initiatives are informed by proven global best practices from emerging market peers. We have a number of examples by way of countries to copy from. Talk about the Philippines, talk about Mexico, or talk about India. They have successfully implemented structured diaspora engagement frameworks, combining targeted investment instruments, digital remittance platforms, and sustained policy dialogue to mobilize remittances into long-term investment and development finance. Mexico, for example, shows how to scale diaspora funds. Philippines shows how to change financial behavior. And India shows us how to mobilize large capital from remittances. So Ghana intends to adapt and to scale these lessons in a manner that is consistent with our domestic financial architecture. Therefore, this roundtable this evening is designed to explore bankable diaspora investment opportunities, co-create innovative diaspora financial solutions, support a strategic shift from consumption-driven remittances to investment-led models, and provide clarity on regulatory constraints affecting diaspora flows. We expect tangible outcomes, including greater formalization of remittance flows, increased diaspora participation in Ghana's financial markets, enhanced partnerships between the diaspora, financial institutions, and policymakers, and actionable policy and regulatory recommendations. In the period ahead, the Bank of Ghana will continue to collaborate with stakeholders to convert diaspora inflows into long-term development capital, encourage the development of targeted financial instruments for diaspora investors, strengthen digital payment ecosystems for seamless diaspora onboarding, institutionalize regular diaspora engagement mechanisms, and enhance data systems to better track and leverage remittance flows. So in conclusion, let me emphasize that the Ghanaian diaspora is not peripheral to our economy. It is actually central to our external stability, our investment strategy, and our economic transformation. And permit me to say that again, that the Ghanaian diaspora is not peripheral to our economy. You are not peripheral. You are central to our external stability, to our investment strategy, and our economic transformation agenda. If we harness this well, our diaspora can become a reliable source of long-term capital, even during crisis. And we must treat the diaspora as domestic investors that are abroad, not as external senders of money. Our next phase is not just about remittances, it is about turning the diaspora incomes into long-term investment capital for Ghana. So through this maiden roundtable here, our collective task is clear. We seek to transform remittances into investment and engagement such as these into enduring economic partnerships. For us at the Bank of Ghana, we stand ready to work with you all to achieve this objective. I wish you fruitful celebration and please enjoy yourself.
They are okay now. They can see.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for the Bank who was warmly welcomed. And that brings us to the end of part one. Part two, opportunity. It gives me great pleasure to bring to the podium the Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC. Please warmly welcome Mr. Simon Mack.
Would the video be played?
Go for that to come out of the document. I think the only thing I have in common with the government is that we are attending the best academic school in Ghana. Everybody is guessing, right? Oh, you are still guessing. Oh, you are still guessing. Yes. It's a challenge to talk about. We'll talk about the challenge. We'll talk about that. That's true. We got to disagree with that on that one. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And it's an honor to really be here to make a presentation on investment in Ghana. I would want to start by recognize all the initiatives I'm mentioning by our able governor and also the deputy ambassador to the United States, as well as our presidential advisor on preparation, also with our ambassador. Please, if you have my presentation, I'll be happy to do that. Go ahead, please. But in summary, for those of you who have what the governor said, the diaspora comes with bringing experience, exposure, and education. And we need all of that to develop our country. Oh, they have an issue. Oh, okay, then let me get to answer that question. I think technology sometimes can also fail us, but we'll try our best. So let me start from this one. Let's see.
Okay, you did it.
So you are from Ghana. Okay. That's it. And we talk the same. Sorry. What about those that anyone? What about construction? Yes, sir. Construction. Financial services. Oh, many of you are financial services, so you are with the government. Well, these are some of the areas that we want to talk to you about when we talk about opportunities. Now, let me be very basic. So, currently in Ghana, we have about 2.6 million registered businesses. 2.6 million registered businesses. That is enough, but not enough for 30 million seats. And so, when the government speaks about formalization, he's also talking about your ability to transition from just having a little because when a business is formalized, there are certain opportunities that you can get. There are opportunities in locational incentives, depending on where you are located. There are opportunities in the VAT law of which you can take advantage of as a registered business. So when he's talking about formalization of your remittances, he's also talking about the ability to establish a business as every other investor does. And why am I starting from that point? It is difficult to understand that. Why would it take someone who is not a Ghanaian to go to Ghana, assume the risk, and invest in Ghana and succeed? But for a Ghanaian who's lived abroad and have had experience and the resources, most of their investment falls apart. There's a link which is missing. You often say, oh, the people that we try working with is not been faithful to you. That's what I hear from many people in the country. So the government is trying to resolve that by taking a diaspora board and encouraging to go to government. But if the government is paying, you know some years, but government will not pay you. So there's a chance that at some point you have challenges. But the real issue is that for those who are not Ghanaians, when they come to Ghana, they have the patience to invest, and they often end up using the same reward that they are looking for. So our message is very clear that you have to begin to look at what are some of the success factors of all these oriental firms that to invest, and what have they done differently to achieve the success that they have done. And I can assure you that the line is simply their commitment to investing in Ghana. We have to be clear with ourselves, and I often say this, that for the person who is not from Ghana, their commitment to investing in Ghana and reaping the reward often looks or appears higher than those of us who are from Ghana and are committed to investing in Ghana to reap the reward. But fundamentally, we are all trying to achieve one goal, and that goal is that for every person that looks like us to be respected around the world, regardless of what country, the continent of Africa must develop and has to be on the basis of economic integration. You can be whatever you want to be here, but you are just another one of us. But if the continent is developed, when you walk in here, you are not just another person. You come from a place that's unusual. So that's our first message. And the governor has spoken about your capital, which is 7.8 billion. And he said it's higher than FDI. Yes, it's true. FDI last year, working with the government here, is 2.6 billion. So your money to Ghana is higher than FDI. But that your money is not going, it's not turning itself into investment. Because you have to be intentional about being an investor in your own life. So we encourage you to look at that. Now he's talking about some of the current trends, so I won't worry too much about that. We look at some of the perceived challenges that we have, and then there's the challenge of you having the risk which you're putting in your investment, and then there's the risk that you may not get what you want. There's also limited access to bankable projects. So today, wanted to share some of the bankable projects with you and to look at your interest. There's also the trust gap, because many of you do business with your relatives. But one thing for sure, business with your relatives is never else. So you have to do business with professionals who would assist you to really invest in Ghana. They are professionals who do that. Dr. Kwate is here from Christian. You just take a certain amount of your money and not give to the family or from somebody. That's not the case. Yes, so you can see him after this free marketing. Then some of you also worry about the currency. But now, thanks to Dr. Governor and our table at the view, the currency is very stable. And we look at it with stable and very long. I'll pass for the governor before the So those are some of the risk factors. You can see that the government is going to deal with all of these major risk factors. And now the objective is to help the economy grow. This is where we need to we are setting goals if we want to see people come into the country to invest. For those of you that think that the government has passed a law for the virtual asset service providers. It's 50 times. If you have expertise in that area, you are invited to come together to invest in that. And we are just about the first country in West Africa or Africa to have a law to regulate cryptocurrency and all the associated products that come and the service providers. This is a fine opportunity for you to invest your money in the cryptocurrency. For those of you who can also defy some of the perceptions in agriculture, we invite you to come in. Now we have legalized the cultivation of industrial and medicinal Indian hemp. I was watching your TV last night, and they call it with 8. For the THC, just 0.3. And you can go into the cultivation, the processing, the marketing, the regulation, and it's open entirely to you as a diaspora investor into the country. This is where you can turn some of your investment into. There's also the opportunity and our government's flagship program called the 24-hour economy. Now, let me break this particular opportunity down for you to understand.
So the 24-hour economy has certain components, which we call the growth goals. One such component is the water economic corridor. Now, the goal of the water economic corridor is to domesticate 2 million hectares of land along the water lane through agroecological parks, industrial parks, and all the things that will make Ghana self-sufficient in this food production. So, if you're a diaspora investor, the question is, how can I participate in the 24-hour economy? Because government is not going to do it all by itself. So, government is creating SPVs, special purpose vehicles, through the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund that has its own governance structure, of which you can invest, then you have control. And whether government have government goals, your investment is secure because this is an independent SPV that is looking after your agro-ecological park, your industrial park, or any of the investments along the water lane. So that is something we are inviting you, the diaspora, to really put in your money. When you see the SPVs being formed, please put your money in that investment because it is secure and government is directing it for you. And whatever happens, you have a say in how that investment will be carried out, especially under the 24-hour economy. And these SPVs will be created for many of the projects around the 24-hour economy, whether it's in the part which is called the Polo Bato agricultural enclave, it will be the same. Government is going to create an SPV, or the Tamale cargo hub with the intention to convert the Tamale airport into a cargo hub to export many of the agricultural products. You are also going to have an SPV which you can participate in. There are also other emerging areas that you can look at. How many of you use electric vehicles? Let's see, who has an electric vehicle here? Right, so you know about the electric vehicle. Now, we want to open up about 1,000 charging stations. The regulation is already clear. What we need from you is your expertise and your resources to help us migrate into using a lot of electric vehicles on our roads. Our goal is to get about 70% adoption by the year 2040. I've already mentioned the industrial Indian hemp, and then we're talking about the cryptocurrency. I mentioned agriculture. Agriculture has emerged as a place now for investment in our country. It's one of the agencies of government that has several leaders and several points for investment. So when you come, you have what we call the Feed Ghana project, which is under the Ministry of Agriculture. And under the Feed Ghana project, government is building over 50 farmer service centers that will be closer to the farmer. So they will provide extension services. You can also go there to sharpen your tools and they will provide tractor services. These are things that you can equally participate in under agriculture. Also under agriculture, we import close to $400 million worth of poultry products. And so there are huge opportunities in the poultry value chain. Whether it's processing, whether it's hatchery, veterinary services, there are significant opportunities in that one. Also in agriculture, there's the intention of the government and the Minister of Finance to grow about 200,000 hectares of palm trees and palm oil, 200,000 hectares of that one, as well as cocoa. So there are huge opportunities in the palm oil sector if you have expertise or lands in your villages that you can grow that and you can invest your money into that. In fact, there's a World Bank $500 million project just for the palm oil project. So you should keep an eye on that. There are huge opportunities in that area. Now, under cocoa, you are all aware that we are seeking to regrow our cocoa sector. We want to go more into cultivation. And the objective of government now is to process the cocoa bean, to process at least 50%. And we have about 500,000 tons of processing capacity, which is being many of the cocoa processing companies are looking for strategic partners like you who can also source funds to help them increase their production level as a country. Now, if you move from agriculture and go into housing, we have over 1.8 billion deficit, housing deficit. Should I run? I can go on and on. What's my time? Okay. So
I mean,
the
I don't know.
opportunities in housing. Let me see those of you at the pharmaceutical sector.
But I think that
Anyone here at the pharmaceutical sector? Yes. And you are the ones who want back in Ghana tomorrow morning. Why do this is currently the pharmaceutical sector in Ghana is valued at $600 million. Projected to go to $800 million by 2030. 2030 is only 5 or so years from now. And we are looking for more Ghanaians to participate in the pharmaceutical sector. We are the leading players within the West African region in terms of pharmaceutical sector. And we want more.
Right there.
We want to consolidate our position. And we are looking for investment in the 8 years. Active pharmaceutical ingredients with the pharmaceutical consumables, and the retail is even open exclusively to Ghanaians. So please consider bringing your investment into the pharmaceutical sector. But you know, diasporans are noted for one thing, tourism. So we are looking for investment in our hotel. If you come to Accra or any of the regions, we don't have enough of the hotels. As for the hotels, we are convinced that the diaspora have the resources to construct more hotels of international standards that we can use for conferences and education in Accra. So I'll be counting for that because we see the next. And the government of Ghana has all the incentives for people who are investing in Ghana. The incentive that we provide as government of Ghana is not discriminatory. The one that applies to a foreigner, same applies to you as a Ghanaian investing in Ghana. It's just a matter of formalizing your business and showing where your source is coming from and being straightforward. You know, when I say being straightforward, we've been dealing with the right authority, whether it's DRA, whether it's DOD, it's about the table. And we know that because of the exposure of the diaspora, everything is about the table. Now, I'll end here by saying the government of Ghana has done a few unique things to help us. One, the business environment has improved. The government has already mentioned it. When we, in investment promotion, say the business environment has improved, we really mean it because we hear from the investors. Why do we say that? VAT is now around 20%. Really, there is
somebody's touched the camera.
Yes, some small levels for but so VAT is lower. And this VAT of 50% is the lowest within the sub-region, except of course Nigeria.
This the one that's closer one. Just
Everybody else is around 18.
Thank you. No, you're going to
Your corporate
on to your left.
in Ghana, depending on where you are located. So if you go outside of Accra, it's 18.75. You could go as low as 12%, and in the 5 million, the corporate income tax is 5%. It's very low. So if you take advantage of that, you can, go to different regions and really succeed. But the average corporate income tax within the South region is well over 30%. Ghana average is around 25%. So all of these opportunities are there. And you must look at what government is doing, the regulations. Now the Ghana Investment Promotion Center is now Ghana Investment Promotion Authority. With the sole goal of what? Of strengthening the investment environment. We have scrapped minimum capital requirements, except for the retail market, where we have to protect it for able Ghanaians like yourself and myself. But every other minimum capital requirement is up. Our job is also to provide you with data on areas to invest in our country. So we hope to really see you investing in that. And remember that the black man succeeding in Africa is the best thing to happen to the black man that's outside of Africa. I mean black man.
Compose. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Maggie. That was a wonderful presentation. Good evening, everybody. It is a pleasure to see all these wonderful faces here with us today. We welcome you to part by TMB. We have so many beautiful faces here. We have several people representing parts of the Ghanaian community that resides here in the DMV. And if you hear your group name, we want to hear you all in your numbers. So when you hear your group, please, we want to hear you know that you're representing. We have the Bankers Association of Ghana
Tilt it down just a
in
little.
the house.
Yes.
They're online. Okay, so they're online. We
And
have
then
you
turn it
here
to
now.
your right.
We also have the Bishop Hermit Old
No,
School
you're
Boys
right.
Union.
Yes,
We have the College of Canyons Pastors Association. And then we have the Council of Ghanaian Pastors Association. Dr. Glover, thank you so much for representing. We have the Council of the FA Association of Washington, D.C. Metro Incorporated. The Ghana Diaspora Public Affairs Collective. The Ghanaian Professionals
You
Network,
get it?
GHPN. The Ghanaian
Okay, so we're
Diaspora
gonna-
Nursing
we're gonna-
Alliance, GDNA.
Yes.
Global Diaspora Council.
But
We have
so
the
you see the long,
Quavo Community
the one
Association.
on the long shot. Zoom into the stage.
Old Maui School Union.
The one on the long shot. Zoom into the stage.
We have Perskova, the St. Peter's
Okay.
Old School.
Good.
Old Girls
Yeah, maybe
the
a shot
Cape
like
Coast
this.
Alumni
And then we just use
Association.
one.
And then we have the University of Ghana Alumni Association. And there's so many groups. If I missed anyone here this evening,
They're
please
there.
let us know that you're here. We want to acknowledge you. Did I miss anyone this evening?
They took all of them to the front.
He did it. He did it. He did it. Put them in.
Thank you all. Thank you all for joining us this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, it feels as if some of you, Apsu, where are you? Are you outnumbered? By
Yeah.
Perskova by chance?
Of course,
Perskova, where are you?
all over.
Didn't hear you. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here in your numbers. And this brings us to a very important part of our program, essentially the heart of why we're here. We now turn to our stakeholder perspectives, and this is where we move from opportunity to understanding the reality on the ground. In this particular segment, what we're going to do is hear directly from the voices across the diaspora. We'll hear from the financial institutions. Of course, the regulator, Bank of Ghana, is here. And we will find that we will see insights grounded in real experience and practical engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, with humility, all the humility Ghana can afford here, I humbly ask our speakers to make sure that your contributions are sweet, short, straight to the point, which will also give us enough time to come to the floor with your questions, answers, and interventions. I ask you this with all the humility within you. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to bring to the stage for this particular moment Dr. Paul Anetefe, Executive Director, Inspired Operations Dr. Amy Ashton Jackson, Cardiovascular Consultants LLC. Please bring to the podium or to the stage AIA. Please welcome to the stage Executive Director of Marketing from the World Financial Group, WFG, Mrs. Emilia Ibitunwa. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to bring from the Bank of Ghana, heading the FinTech and Innovation Office, Oreku Asari. Please also allow me to welcome economists at the Bank of Ghana, Gertron Adelowu. And I think, Mr. Matthew, you have no choice than to come back to the stage. You made us a few promises. We want to hold you accountable. Chief Executive Officer, Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, now Ghana Investment Promotion Authority, GIPA. Simon Matthew. We have some colleagues from the banks who are joining us online. We want to acknowledge you. We know you can hear us. We are also live on YouTube, also live on LinkedIn, and of course, this is being recorded. So for those of you who want to partake in this gathering later on, it shall be recorded and placed on the Bank of Ghana official pages. So, ladies and gentlemen, I bring this conversation to our first question. Our first question will be given to our members of the diaspora. You essentially are representing, I would like to call it, not only yourself, but the big voice, the diaspora voice.
I don't know what he's running on.
We will start with you, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity. Well, before talking about what will make the forums invest in Ghana, from my perspective as a citizen,
I've changed it.
I see two key areas.
Yes, because he was running a standard definition. I just put it to full HD.
The current remittance platforms are not optimized to tap into investments in Ghana. So if you're remitting to Ghana, for the most part, you can remit to businesses, you can remit to family directly, you remit to take care of emergency. So you don't have any existing remitting administration platforms and portfolio.
Sorry.
So the second for me as a citizen will be the issue of trust, right? The issue of trust whereby,
Yes, it's good. So I kind of
and this is more at the, not only at the individual level dealing with individuals in the country, but even at the government statewide level, where we have countless incidents of or reports of misappropriation, or there are no mechanisms in place to hold people accountable. So those are the two key problems from my perspective as a citizen who would love to.
You know, the camera that has a two
If
shot.
I were to talk about what a solution that should be in
The camera that has
place,
the camera with the two shot.
that would be directly to address the two issues that I see. Number one, creating a sort of remit to invest switch of sorts,
Yeah, the one with the two
where
people.
one can
Just see if you can get everybody in.
select
See if you can
to
just
say,
one and see if you can get
remitting
everybody
this
in.
amount to go into that investment or that
And then
investment.
don't worry about it. Just
The
maintain
second
So
would
just
be
zoom out and see if you can
have
get everybody in.
some
We
kind
can
of
yeah,
investor
we couldn't get everybody
protection
in.
framework as a nation.
You can't come
Okay.
out.
So we have a list of, let's say, approved products that investors can confidently
Yeah. Okay.
invest in,
So I don't. So if this is all we
and
can get,
have
right?
mechanisms to
Okay.
actually
Good. So just leave.
hold
Pan,
people
pan to your
accountable.
left.
So people,
Move it to your left.
users will have every
Go, go, go,
confidence
go, go.
that should I run into an
And just
issue,
stop.
there
Just
is
leave it there. And leave it there like
a
that.
conflict resolution
Yeah, just leave it like
system in
that. And
place
just
where I
concentrate on
can
this other one.
get my
Just
money
leave it like
back
that.
or make sure my money goes to
Say that again.
where I intended to go. Okay, so
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
give
It's
other
okay.
panelists
It's fine.
opportunities
Don't worry
to
about
speak.
that. Just tilt a little.
Thank you so much,
Just a
Dr.
little.
Paul.
Yes, thank you, and thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me
Good. Thank
to
you.
part of this
I'm gonna take it.
distinguished panel.
Stay there.
Usually, this panel is made up of finance people, so as a lay physician, I feel honored to be part
Great.
of it.
Like this. Leave it.
I'll start by saying that, this idea of remit to invest is an excellent idea. Its time has come. Its time is long overdue, if you ask me. I'm
Yeah,
glad
I like
that
it.
with the
Keep it.
governor's vision and leadership, we are finally trying to formalize what has been happening for years. I think there needs to be a real ecosystem, formalized ecosystem, so that anybody who wants to remit knows what's happening. It has to be seamless, it has to be competitive, it has to be easy to do. I think we've really come a long way from when we started, when, to remit, you had to at least sometimes, I think, it was Western Union. Now, we have this situation where on your phone you can just remit money for a funeral or for your relatives' school fees or something through one of the multiple platforms. A couple of things. One, the rates on those platforms are not necessarily the most competitive. And secondly, of course, they tell you there are no fees, but we know they make money from arbitrage, from the difference in what your rate is and what they actually pay. But there's another thing that I've always wondered anytime I send money through these channels. What really happens to the dollars that we pay here? Do they actually go to Ghana, or do they stay here and really not show up on Ghana's balance of payments? So it's definitely something that needs to be looked at. We need to be able to show that that money is coming to Ghana and is benefiting Ghana. I know the governor has talked about this. Governor, I always listen to you, so I know you've talked about this multiple times. The other thing I think is important as far as making sure that this is all transparent and actually vehicles that we in the diaspora know we can use, because this has to go past just paying for school fees to having proper investment vehicles that we can use. I'm sure all of us here, whether you're self-employed, whether you work in a company, one of your biggest investment vehicles is your retirement funds. And I'll ask anybody in that field whether there are means where Ghana can harness legally some of our investment retirement accounts into Ghana investments. This is what we call patient capital. Of course, if you're going to invest in any of the things GIPC boss talked about, so usually looking for returns in 1 to 3 years. But we need to be able to invest long term, 10, 12, 15 years. If my son, who is 21 years old, is putting $200 a month into his 401k, and he roll over some of that money into a self-directed IRA, that is patient, meaning that you're not expecting to get that money today or tomorrow. It's patient for 10, 15, 20 years. Something that is definitely very much needed in Ghana. Another thing I think we should talk about, yes, you're here asking us for our treasure, but there's also time and talent, which I would argue is just as important. I think with the leadership of the Bank of Ghana, there should be frameworks where me as a physician can go and do something that is formalized, okay? So that I take 2 weeks off or 3 weeks off from my practice, I can go and work in Ghana, and there's some incentive. It doesn't have to be financial. A lot of us are willing to do this for less than we are paid here because we love our country. But it should be something that, inures to our benefits as well. So if it's well structured, it will be great. The last thing I'm going to talk about, which might be quite controversial, I heard our president talk about the diaspora being the 17th region. But I would argue that it should be the first region. Don't you guys agree? Yeah. Being that we contribute so much to the GDP as has been mentioned, probably more than all the other regions. So why doesn't the diaspora be the first region? And one of the reasons and one of the ways it can be, and I'm glad we have an MP here, is if we finally have the right to vote. Vote in the diaspora. You ask for our talent, you ask for our time, you ask for our treasure, but we should be able to vote. We should be able to have a say in the national direction. And with that, I'll hand over to my next.
Thank you, sir. Professor Adele.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. I like that.
What I'm going to say here may not be palatable to some.
Yeah,
but I'll say it. Number one, I want to just posit that Ghanaians in the diaspora love Ghana as much as the Ghanaians in Ghana, or sometimes even more. There is, if you study the development of nations, we always talk about the Asian relations. We talk about Singapore. We talk about South Korea. In my previous job, I traveled around the world. I was almost on the plane because I had a global position with offices in London, in Mumbai, in Hong Kong, and so on. Whenever I travel to these countries, whether it's India or anywhere, the diaspora, I believe many of you know that China's development was not in a vacuum. China's development mainly is from Chinese in the United States. India, you go to Bangalore, the development of India is tied closely to Silicon Valley. the Indians in the Silicon Valley. Unfortunately, and this saddens me, that somehow the Ghanaians in Ghana don't like the Ghanaians in the diaspora to work with them. And this saddens me a lot. You know, if you look at every developing nation, because we are developing, the best and brightest, most of them, if they want higher education, they get it from outside their countries. That is why we came here. It's not that we don't love Ghana, but we came here because this is where people seek higher education. So that, in fact, in my year group from KNUST, now they call it KNUST, we used to call it UST. No one who got a first class in the US, they call it summa cum laude. No one is in Ghana. All of us are in the US and Canada. Now, what I'm saying is this. God has made this so that there is a way in which the free education we got from Ghana, we will pay back. We want to pay back. We want to contribute. But our Ghanaian friends, unfortunately, don't want us there. And this, I don't understand it. Okay. So, number one, I like what I'm seeing in this administration. Every administration, to me, I'm not NPP, NDC, I'm a Ghanaian. And I want to support Ghana. So what I'm seeing here, what I'm seeing with the stabilization of the city and so on, I love it. And the thing is, if truly, Mr. Governor, if you truly want to do this, please, it should not be a one-off event like this. Because what is happening? What is happening is that when governments come, I've been invited on many occasions to go and speak. In the previous government, they will ask you to speak. You speak, they say, wow, we've never seen an intelligent person like this. And then you sort of tell them everything, nothing happens. So my suggestion is, please, let this bear fruit. We can't actually create the solutions in this meeting. We can start a dialogue. But from this, there should be invitations to have series of meetings until we get to implementable solutions. And then we implement them, and there's monitoring. There is a feedback loop. And then we make sure, because if I go to Singapore, okay, if I go to China, and I speak to them about some things that they need to do, I'm telling you, the next year I go there, I see implementation. So trust is very important. Trust. And when I say trust, I'm saying this, we can do all that we are talking about here. If there is not accountability in Ghana, among those who oversee things, my friend, you can try to fill a bucket. If the bucket has holes on them, you can fill it, will never get full. So we have to be serious as a nation. There should be punishment for wrongdoing, especially from where? The top. If we are serious as a nation, honestly speaking, if we are serious as a nation, and I'm glad what I'm seeing right now, I hope will be sustainable. I have told my European friends that in 10 years, Ghana should be competitive, should be like at least Southern Europe, like Spain, like Portugal, like Italy. They are not that much more advanced than we are.
Sorry, you have only 30 seconds to go.
Yes, 30 seconds. So let's trust, let's make sure that we don't do a one-off thing, please. Because we do love the country, and we want this country to do well. We don't want to just be a talk. Let's make sure we get to an implementation, please. Implement this thing, and let's see that it works.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Adams, I don't know how you are going to pick up from there, but I trust you can.
It's a privilege to be among these great gentlemen. I think I'm the only man here.
I'm here.
I'm representing all the Thank you. This is an amazing opportunity, and I'm just going to read out some statistics that was just given out. Diasporans, we have to be proud of what we are doing for our dear country. I love that. Okay. And so, like I'm going to say, 7.8 billion of our dollars go to support our dear country. And we make up 6% of Ghana's GDP. Now, it was said we are central to the economic transformation agenda. So which means we are very important. I work in the financial sector, but I focus on insurance. Now, everything we set out home is dependent upon our ability to go to work to make the money. What if we are not able to go to work because of a sickness, like stroke, disability, cancer, and we can't go to work? Our ability to make the money is gone and gone forever. What about the people we support back home that we translate to so that they can live? They depend on us. So if we cannot go, money is not coming and we can't transmit. So all the sector things that the governor spoke about and our dear brother spoke about, there was no mention of insurance. I'm begging the Ghana government and all the key leaders in this room. We as Ghanaians, if Ghana is going and Africa in general, as a whole, if we are going to lose the title, third world, it's insurance. America, insurance in America is 1913. The insurance tax code is as old as the US tax code itself. 1913. The country, America, depends on the insurance industry. And I didn't hear anything about insurance. We have to start education right now. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about something else to Philippines. Our dear brother talked about Philippines, right? It says, changing financial behavior. I think that's what we need. And education has to start from the top all the way down and across Ghana and Africa also in general. It says sustain financial literacy for overseas workers. I'll stop there. Sustain financial literacy for overseas workers. If we produce 6% of GDP, my dear brothers and sisters in the diaspora, it's very important that we protect our most valuable asset. And it's not our bank account, it's not our investment account, it's not our houses, it's our income. But everything depends on that income and it must be protected. Education starts right away. Thank you. By the way, before I go on, we are willing to transmit, to invest. Transmission comes in different ways. We can come in different ways. We have money, we have also skills. We are willing. Me sitting here, I'm willing to clone myself in people who are serious, who don't waste my time. I don't mind going home to clone myself in my sisters, in my mothers, and all those people out there. We need to clone ourselves. So investment is not only money, the most powerful investment is skills. We are here to support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I move to our colleagues who are smiling from ear to ear because the work you have to do is very simple. And I'm being sarcastic. Now, we've heard about formalizing the ecosystem, creating seamless competitive rates. What happened to the dollars that we were asked? Transparency of the vehicles of moving our funds from here to home. Retirement funds, can we harness them? What about the time and talent? How do we formalize all those objectives? We're talking about where we stand as a diaspora. We don't want to be the 17th, we want to be the first region. That may not be for you to answer, but let me just put it out there for posterity's sake. We have a division between the diaspora and those back at home. How do we create a seamless bridge between the two? Insurance has just come up, and ladies and gentlemen, lastly, skills. How do we transmit the skills also as a form of remitting to invest? So now to you, my wonderful gentlemen, let us respond to the various points that we have heard. Ladies and gentlemen, in no particular order, I'm going to start off with you, the FinTech and Innovation Office, Oreto Asare. All the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just say two things, and I'll try as much as possible to be brief so that it doesn't two things actually resonated during the conversation that my brothers and sisters have highlighted. Facts and the movement from obligation-based remittances to opportunity-based. I think those are the things that we need to discuss and highlight. If you look at trust is the currency that's most valued across. How do we facilitate the movement of value from diaspora to Ghana without any major intermediaries, where funds get into Ghana and it becomes a problem? So I think this is where we have the intersection of digital and finance coming in, to be able to take out the human interventions. Even if you're looking at opportunity-based remittance deals, you get to a point where you realize that, do I have to send these funds to Philip, or I have to send it to Epia? We are actually at the cusp of coming up with solutions or facilitating solutions that will allow the diaspora to move funds straight into those respective markets. It takes out that challenge of trust, where we are not too sure about the person receiving the funds. I think that's something that we believe we need to work towards. We are having engagement with a number of key stakeholders across the board to allow this to happen. And lastly, in terms of moving from remittance of obligation-based remittances to opportunity, it will get to a point, the social connections between our children, those of us sitting here, and Ghana. Whatever we do, we will reduce. Our kids may not see the need to remit to us because maybe your parents are already in the US. There's no need. You don't have that strong connection with your grandmother. So what do? We need to create that opportunity for our children to be able to remit without any intermediary. I think that is where we are heading towards. There are a number of solutions that I believe as time goes on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sari. Economist at Bank of Ghana, Chief Economist. Your turn.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anita.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I felt very much at home looking at the faces here. In my home. Yeah, so for us from the regulatory space, the issue of free capital is a very important for us and therefore what is necessary is to make sure that the environment exists, to make sure that you are able you are able to transfer your money, the environment is safe and transparent for you to be able to transfer your money legitimately. And so ours is to ensure that the environment is regulated properly. You are able to send your funds for legitimate business, and you are guaranteed that the assets are available. And so one of the points that we resonated with all the funds that you are sending has to reach that. And for us, all the policies that we have put in place is to ensure that all the efforts will come back to that and support growth. And as you will see from the data last year, the experiment has performed well, and that is the public policy. A lot of reforms have happened. Then we're going to just take the opportunity to explain some of it. So the first thing has to do with how we restructured reform the effects of the framework. And the framework is such that we have ensured that the three objectives are clearly pursued. The first is to ensure that we build reserve adequately to support trade. And that has been a key issue for many people for foreign business. The market is not moving enough, we want foreign, and therefore that objective is top. The second objective has to do with being able to support our market and
that's what I'm trying
that we are able to do our investigation and do interventions when they are necessary. And so that we have been able to do. We fashioned that against some of the new reforms that came out from the post into we tailor that to the boat board operations to ensure that there's regular flow towards these three objectives. So we are ensuring that we are building reserves without compromising the efforts that we use for you to come back and invest. The other objective, the other responsibility is happening has to do with the downward program. And I'm sure many of you have heard about that. Accelerated reserve application program, in which the government, the Bank of Ghana, the Cocoa Board, has come together to build a reserve to the tune of 15 months of import cost. And the idea is to build that resilience enough Paris economy to the next level for transformation. And as you will all already know, Ghana has been to the fund several times, all because of BOP challenges. And therefore, if this succeeds, it means that we are far away from this. So maybe let me end here. I want to listen more, and then we come.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my brother. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I think that I will commence by, answering some of the questions. So, one is, right? I think you were concerned about the right to vote. And the Honorable Member of Parliament is here. There is a bill in Parliament which would, amend that aspect of the Constitution to grant the right to stand for office in the land. But even prior to that, the Supreme Court has already ruled, so there are certain positions that you can be a dual citizen and still hold in Ghana. And even under the new GIPC authority bill, you can have, a citizenship through investment. That's a very important aspect. So all of these are happening. And you raise the issue of accountability and protection for investors. If you move from remittance to being an investor, we have elaborate schemes to protect the investor who is investing in Ghana. There are provisions under our constitution, the 1992 constitution, which grants you the right to your property and your investment as well. And you are protected against discrimination. We don't really discriminate between a local investor and any other investor that is operating in our country. And there's also the principle against expropriation. Government can't just take over your property without paying the adequate compensation as defined by law. And so, being the 17th or 16th region, it's just a question of nomenclature. You understand what I'm saying there? The point is that we have 16 regions. We think you are part of us, so you're part of the 17th region. They all hold equal importance to us, and it's not necessarily based on the amount of money that you get. Because Ghana's GDP is 113 billion United States dollars, sorry, and you are getting only 6%. So when the people in the Ashanti region or Western region also say I'm being 18 billion, so it's just a question of nomenclature, not necessarily to put one down or another up. And the insurance market is open for private participation. There are Ghanaians playing in the insurance market. We have local insurance guys, the Geico, the others, the insurance. You must just have people who are fit for the rule. The insurance commission has all these rules, same as the BOD has all these rules for people who want to run banks. And so you must meet a certain minimum capital requirement. And once you do that, you are open to set up your own insurance company. For us, we want you to look at Ghana as the land of opportunities. As we speak, from 1994 to date, the data at GIPC shows that we have over 7,000 foreign businesses registered in Ghana. You understand that people have invested over 62 billion United States dollars. So what are they doing right, or what do they see that Ghanaians who equally have the same resources cannot see? This is where we want the conversation to go. And then beyond you, we are also looking at your children. So we are out there to market opportunities in Ghana, so that when you are no longer around, and God forbid you'll be around for a long time, but when your sentiment is out and your children are looking at the target market, we want to be able to put out opportunities that we can look at and say, I can equally invest as this foreign business that is here in Ghana, break my capital, have the same protection as everybody else. And then that's where we see the growth coming. But mind you, Ghana is 34 million. By 2050 or thereabouts, it will be 50 million. So the market is changing. And we have the West African market of 425 million people. And into a bigger African market of 1.4 billion people. And the African market is becoming one single market because of the AFCFTA. So if you sit back and you don't hasten to take advantage of the opportunities in Ghana, some other persons from some other countries will see and they will collaborate with the Ghanaian that you say you have problems with or they have problems with you to do business. So we have to go beyond the sentiment and then begin to look at the principles of investment and the principles of doing business. I believe when we do that, we'll get to the point where that next vision of transforming the investment.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nicholas. And just by way of letting you know that currently, as we speak, we are beaming live and we have some of our banks online. We've got Access Bank Ghana PLC, First Bank of Nigeria Ghana, Guarantee Trust Bank is online with us, National Investment Bank Limited. We know you can hear us, Prudential Bank Limited. We've got Stanbic Bank Ghana Limited, Stanchart Ghana PLC is also online. Universal Merchant Bank is also online. Zenith Bank is also online. So just for the purpose of your knowledge, we have all these banks who are also online listening to our deliberations. Thank you so much to the panel. Don't go, please stay here. But ladies and gentlemen, many of you have been asking, when do you get to engage? When do you get to interact? We're going to do this in a lovely Ghanaian orderly fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, with humility and respect, we have a lot of questions. We want to be able to answer as many of them as possible. Mr. Governor, some of these questions are coming to you because I've seen some coming through our online audience. I hope you're ready, sir. My colleague Abla will be walking around with a rolling microphone. Kindly, when I pick you, please stand up, mention your name. Kindly don't give us your biography. We respect when you came to the US. We respect all your credentials. But please kindly go to the question and to whom the question is being asked so that we can have as many questions as possible with due respect. If I may go to you, sir. Governor, you have a question. I think we should come to you first. Kindly. The question is, how does the Bank of Ghana plan to engage the diaspora community across the globe for any type of financial mobilization? Sir, this is the question coming on to you, sir.
Okay, so this program is very much one side. As you know, the diaspora ecosystem is quite wide. So it is for people like him, the GIPC people, it's for His Excellency the President, it's for my sister, exactly. The Ghanaian embassy in the US. They have that responsibility. Now, where we come in is when you are dealing with the channels through which the monies get to Ghana. Because the mode through which they get to Ghana matters a lot. My brother made mention, he asked some questions. He says, the dollars that are given to the remitters here, do they get to Ghana? My response is not necessarily. And that's one problem we'll be trying to resolve. So there's something called offshoring. There are some of those people who take your money. Instead of paying it into, the Ghanaian banks in Ghana, they all have accounts with some of the foreign banks here. They call them correspondent banks. So usually when they take your dollars here, those cash are supposed to be paid into those correspondent accounts. Once it is paid into those accounts, those monies will have entered the Ghanaian banking system. And so those who are, for example, importing things, they are in Ghana and they are importing things here and there. Such monies is what they use to pay for the imports. So your dollars enter into the correspondent account of the bank here,
Somebody in Ghana is importing a car from, say, Germany. But then the bank will issue a check, let me put it that way, and use those proceeds there to pay for that. So think about the case where the money never entered any corresponding account. And you know what they do? Because the people you send the money to in Ghana are paid in cedis. Is that okay? They find a way, they take a loan from somebody in cedis in Ghana. Then they use that loan, that cedi loan they take in Ghana to pay your receipt. So the person keeps your dollars here, turns himself or herself into a foreign exchange dealer. And then he tells people that if you want any payments, I can do it for you, you know, which is illegal. When we came in last year, we saw that that phenomenon was pervasive. And hence, we have to do a few things to correct it. My colleague was talking about it, Gershon. He's the head of financial markets. It's one of the things we are tackling now. We want to make sure that every dollar you take from a diaspora person enters into our banking industry. And I always say that if we can make sure that every dollar, every pound sterling that the Ghanaian remains to Ghana, if you can make sure that all such funds enter into the Ghanaian system, the city will stabilize. It will stabilize. The reason why there was so much instability in the past was because we were not able to track all such flows. Think about it, 7.8 billion US dollars. You know, so what happened last year, it may not be, say, new flows per se, but it may be a reflection of the fact that we are now better able to track it. We've passed new guidelines, new legislation that compels them that every money you take, you must prove to us that it goes into our system. Otherwise, we penalize. We are coming out with some additional measures, those who are in the space. The banks will be speaking. Some of them are complaining. The fintechs, that's the head of the fintechs. It's always on them. And so silently, these are some of the things we are doing. When you see the CD is stable, it's no magic we are making. It is just tightening some of these to make sure that funds that are meant for Ghana legitimately go into the banking system.
Sorry, Mr. Governor, you have one more question. Hello, Madam MC. This is Araba. I'm dialing in from Shanghai. It's dawn, but I want you to ask the governor something. Otherwise, I will not believe in your mandate. Oh, Mr. Governor, the question is, what is Ghana's readiness for a full online banking system? I want the governor to answer this, but I also want the young man from FinTech to answer. Mr. Governor, will you take a part of it, and then I'll give you.
So let me defer to him first.
Yes,
after he speaks.
Yes, please.
But we are doing a couple of things in that.
Yes, sir. Shanghai wants to hear from you this dawn. What is your readiness? What is Ghana's readiness for a full online banking system?
Thank you very much. I think if you compare what we are currently doing, our ecosystem support in terms of
it's fine.
It gives us that level of robustness. I quite remember when we launched mobile money. That was 2009 in Ghana. We had situations where individuals would deposit money as an agent and then go around the corner and go and take it out from another agent, just to ensure that the funds indeed went into an account and I can still access it. So I believe we have that level of robustness. And if you look at our trajectory, we've had some wonderful financial sectors.
Okay, I mean, maybe you're right. So what we'll do is that if we have a place and people will see,
if you want to make
why? Because
it was because what the problem is somebody unemployed.
The banking hall. Digitization has actually helped to moving into digital banking. The matter of
Strips?
Yeah.
Just and then somebody
If
unplugged
you
one to
follow
plug
what's
their
happening,
stuff in, so I had to plug
remember
it
this
back.
started just like the
That's why the top
it was like
died.
EMI.
Somebody did that?
Yeah, somebody unplugged it.
How?
So I think in terms of readiness, Madam is
One of the power strips that I had.
I'm here from the Shanghai and here, now you can go to bed because I know you've been up almost all night. Mr. Butler, do you want to take a stab at this or has Mr. Sari covered it for you?
I think he has said everything. There are a number of exciting things coming up. He mentioned the digital assets, law which we introduced recently. Some people are using what they call stable coins to terminate remittances. Well, it is technology that is playing out. And for us as regulators, we want to have visibility. When I'm able to see those flows, then I can tell when things are going wrong and I can regulate it. And so we passed the law. We are now about to operationalize it. So very soon we can better track all these flows. There are other things coming in, open banking, digital banking, how do you call that one? Digital, and one of the things we notice in Ghana also is, in the US here, for example, normally it's easy to raise credit, right? You use credit cards, it's really, even when you don't have cash, you're able to move, right? In Ghana, it's not that easy. Getting credit in Ghana for more than a year is like pulling hair out of your nose, And so we need to relax those constraints. So one of the things I'm passionate about is digital credit. People should be able to raise money digitally on their phones and be able to do legal things for themselves. And then the interest rate should be minimal. Can you imagine paying 30% interest on your credit card annually? Annually, that's just the interest. But this is what our people have had to contend with. And for us at the central bank, it's something we are really, really pushing hard on. We believe that it can be part of the poverty reduction strategy. If people can raise little sums on their own, they open their corner shops here and there, little by little, employing themselves, that takes the pressure off people like you who have to look after the whole family, So we are working on our side. We believe that we also have a role to play to enhance the real sector outcomes. Even as government, His Excellency the President is doing his bit. We also have our fair share. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. My colleague Ablan, if you have any questions, yes, kindly put your hand up for us, and then we'll go systematically through the room. Ablan, do me a huge favor. Let's start from the column over there, and then we move down. Okay. Kindly say your name and to whom the question is being asked.
All right, let me get out of here because it's crowded. I'm sorry.
My question is going to the economists in the Bank of Ghana. My problem is we have discussed so much about businesses investing in Ghana. But the most important thing is through the inflation exchange rate dynamics in Ghana. Last time I was playing Ghanaian exchange rate and inflation from 2000 to 2025. I see that it's about 7.2 months for these rates to go back to their long run path. And which is very important to businesses. So I want you to explain how give us assurance that this rate right now is about 3.2 inflation.
Thank you so much, sir.
Should be stable.
Thank you so much, sir. Kindly, sir, second talk. Inflation.
So, thank you very much. So the question is referring to whether this can be sustained. So, like I said, we had a very significant exchange rate basket inflation, which was a strong factor in the inflation dynamics. The food situation has also improved significantly, and a lot of efforts are going in that direction. So we are confident that the stability we see will be sustained. Now, one of the strong factors I mentioned was the exchange rate, and we continue to build reserves. I mentioned earlier on about this Ground Up program. We are improving on market conduct issues, which will ensure the stability in that space. And all these things put together, we are confident, we are sure that the stability we are seeing is going to be sustained. Of course, we have current global developments, which actually pose some significant upside risk to inflation. But the government itself has announced a lot of measures in that direction. If you monitor the space, you will realize that government has introduced some few reductions to the fuel prices. These are reductions to regulatory margins to ensure that the prices of fuel and other things does not actually pass into inflation. So the margins have been reduced so that we can continue passing inflation. We hope the current conditions improve significantly. Looking at the numbers this morning, particularly from the risk side from petrol, we think that if this thing lasts, if this thing does not last long, then we have some reprieve from that. So the gains will be sustained, but there are some upside risks.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Geffen. I'm going to take 3 questions at a time, and of course, any of our colleagues from the Bank of Ghana or our partnering banks, etc., will be more than happy to answer them. So 2 more questions from that column, please. Abla, kindly go ahead. There's a lady in the blue shirt. There's a gentleman to her right. Your name and the question. Go ahead, madam.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Helena.
Helena, kindly speak up for us, kindly.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
My name is Helena. I actually do have 2 questions.
One, please.
Okay, one is a question, one is a comment. The first question is, how do you ensure that anything that you put in place, right, will be sustainable to different administrations, right? So you know that you have, every year we see several administrations that will come after you. So how do you ensure that these will be sustained and still apply? And my comment is I haven't heard it, maybe this is not part of the panel discussion, but healthcare is to me is really tied to investment. And just to kind of piggyback on Dr. Neil's comment, how do we harness medical professionals in this country, or I'd like for us to harness our medical professions in this country, in Ghana, because we do have a lot of talent and we are ready and able to support. And we all know that the healthcare situation in Ghana is not the most ideal, right? So how do we harness that?
Thank you so much, Alina. Thank you. All right, one more question from that column. There's a gentleman whose hand was up all the way to the wall, kindly. And kindly have the question, and you can leave the comments for after the program, kindly.
I already have a question. My name is Ghana. So my question is that today you can see that a lot of Ghanaian entrepreneurs online trying to market their products. How will Bank of Ghana make it easier for them to be able to sell their products, especially the payment system, so that if my sister is selling a product in my hotel or in the Upper East, if I can use my credit card and pay it. All right. So how is the financial system making it very easy for Ghanaian businesses?
Thank you so much. So I come to the floor to answer the questions. Any of my colleagues can put their hand up. I will come back to you for your questions, please, humbly, if you just give me a few minutes. Can we come to you? We're talking about administrative change. What happens when administration changes? I need the assurance that all the conversations we're having will remain the same. Entrepreneurs, how does Bank of Ghana facilitate their sales so I can do it easy? Mr. Samuel, yes, sir. Mr. Go ahead.
I believe that Ghana has been at this business of democracy for the last 30 years. And so we've seen things that transition beyond several administrations. The Bank of Ghana itself has been around for a very long time. No administration will come and change the bank. So the Bank of Ghana is putting in measures to ensure that the city stabilizes. You rest assured that no government will come and change them. there's a lot of continuity in government across these payment services system that my colleague is talking about. There was a law that was passed sometime, I think 2018, 2020. Yeah, the payment services law. And it's being implemented. So that should give you some view of it. And on the question of healthcare, the examples are there for everybody to see. If you come from Accra and their hospitals called, is it Bloom Health? There's Nova, they're all from the US. So there are many of your kind who are in Ghana, who are running their own hospitals, and they're actually providing healthcare to many Ghanaians. And it's a profitable business for them because everybody is statistically sick. Right? No, it is a profitable business because it's only a matter of case. But at the bigger level, what government is looking for right now, any of you has expertise and the resources to complete the agenda one. Government is prepared to hold discussions with you to complete those projects that are still outstanding. And then there are also the opportunities in the district assemblies where many of them are constructing district hospitals and chief compounds. And so if you are interested, you can also do that. Your expertise is always welcome. I think there are programs at Kolebu, there are programs at G, AMUS, right? Also to small G, where doctors come from New York, heart surgeons, they come and they operate on people. Some could go as far as Temali and other areas to help. So as for the healthcare space, you're always welcome. Because health wears no political color. Thank you.
Prof, you wanted to, sorry, Mr. Sari, you want to contribute as well? Prof, and then I'll come to you, sir.
Let me just handle the question on how do you pay for products online in Amazon and then you receive it in the US. It actually happens. If you go online, what we've done at the central bank is to regulate the payment service providers. So today we have over 60 of them. A number of them they have the specialization of providing online marketplaces where merchants can actually list their products and services. And they actually accept Visa, MasterCard. And even for domestic, the citizens, they actually use mobile money as well. So if you are in the US and you want to actually buy something in Ghana, you go to some of these online marketplaces and then you pay for it. I know for sure between Bank of Ghana, Ministry of Trade, and then Ghana Post, there's a working group that's facilitating it because there are two things that happen. We will ensure that your money gets to the merchants. Ghana Post is facilitating the courier to ensure that your request is fulfilled. It gets to your doorstep. So I think that is what is happening. I like this is something I probably I'm almost about CGIPC.
It's probably I was one of the first people to say that Ghana needs a card. Now they call it Ghana card. That's not what I call it. I say it's something like the Social Security card for the United States. That will identify every person who is born in Ghana. Because we're thinking about the national health insurance system. And I said, Nigeria is very close to Ghana. We are very many countries. If we don't have a card that identifies Ghanaians, people can overwhelm the system. The system will not be sustainable. I went back in 2006 and I said, I've not seen a card. But they said, oh, it's coming on next year. Now we do have the Ghana card.
Yeah.
We can actually develop something that can transcend administrations. Now, in terms of what we're talking about, the market, the stock market is very important. If we are, because real estate, for example, we heard that we have 1.8 million units of a car in terms of what we need and what we have. In the US system, they call it alternative investment. In our system, it becomes a real investment. When I launched the CFA Society in Nigeria in the year 2010, I told them what we call alternative investment in the United States. Don't take it's only 5% of the exam.
30 seconds.
40% of the exam. So what I'm saying is that we can use the stock market system to make sure that the money that we send, whether it's property, whether it is infrastructure, that the market itself will actually monitor the system and make sure the system works across
administrations. But it takes a lot of time to talk about it. But Scotland is key.
Thank you so much, Prof. We know you've traveled all over the world, so that's why sometimes I have to say 30 seconds. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
The first part of my comment is actually a question, which is how do we harness all the informal transfers coming into Ghana? Because you know what, a lot of times I need to take money to Ghana. A friend of mine has dollars in Ghana. Rather than doing it through any of the formal corridors, I just ask him to, give my people $100, and of course they go and change it at the other rate, unlike what we do when we go through the different money transfer companies. I was doing some research and I noticed that in a place like Bangladesh, they had an incentive where they were paying an extra, the central bank actually was paying an incentive for people to use the formal sector rather than go through these informal sectors. I would believe another 20-30% of remittances are not captured because they go through those informal sectors. I'm wondering whether the bank has any plans to try and do that. I think one of the problems with that though is if the delta between the formal rates and the rates in the forex bureaus and the informal, it is big, even that 2.5%, which is what Bangladesh did, would not work. So I guess one of the first things obviously is to narrow that delta. But I think if you had incentives, you would probably capture way more money. Now, of course, I think if you do that, we are going to go into the politics of the amount of money used to capture that money. And it makes me think of what recently happened with the gold board. So I wish, somebody who has way more expertise than me can help answer this question.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so thank you very much. I like the angle from the spread. Those are exactly the and the blue. So the spread, between the euro, and the interbank has significantly narrowed due to some of these considerations that we are doing. And so beyond that, the central bank itself has introduced a remittance desk which sits directly in the office of the government itself. And the role of that desk is to really coordinate and make sure some of these issues are brought to the attention of technical people so that we can easily address them. And so the countries you mentioned are very important. The governor in his speech actually mentioned Mexico, Philippines, and some of these countries to really look at some of the architecture they have, and so we can replicate that in Ghana. And just want to stress that there is a specific desk in the governor's office, remittance desk, which can receive some of these considerations for the attention for us to address. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We go to the next block of 4 questions kindly. I'd like you to do me a huge favor and just move through quickly so we can have more time to answer them. We start with our mother in the front. Our mother in the front, please. Mommy, please go ahead.
Of course, I work in the health system. I'm a nurse. I've been listening to all of you. Nobody mentioned how nurses should be sustained in Ghana. I intend to retire to Ghana next year, and I'll be traveling from hospital because the things that are happening in our hospitals in Ghana, there's far difference of what nurses do there and what we do here. So I will be traveling from place to place, hospital to hospital, to invest my time in the hospital. That's also an investment. But I have, we talk of agriculture. I have tons of land I can lend to Ghana to see how they want to use it. My comment goes to Mr. Governor. I have, it's almost everybody here. I have 2 special cars that are very dear to me that I would love to ship to Ghana. I want the governor to put that into consideration. I don't need answer today.
What kind of cars are they?
No, you don't have to.
You will say it.
I won't say it.
How much shipping?
They're not electric cars.
They're not.
No, they're not. But shipping one of those cars, the duty on it can buy 3 cars in Ghana. So I want Mr. Governor to take that into consideration and think about it, come back to us and let us know how citizens of Ghana who would love to invest in Ghana, love Ghana so much, how we can get this task.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next question, please.
Thank you, Mama. This is the Queen Mother of the Stakeholder area. Thank you.
To London, my team is actually hosting, together with the London Stock Exchange, to talk about some of these things, because visibility in the market and then also market depth, which is around liquidity, is the most critical thing to improve the rates and then also the trust in the market. Those are the 2 critical things. So just quick background. If you look at the largest financial market in the world, is FX, right? And it's $9.6 trillion every single day. There's a company called CLS that processes about $7 trillion a day. And that's because they have this financial market infrastructure in place, but it's only 18 currencies. And when you come to the global south and most markets like Ghana and the frontier and emerging markets, there's an absence of this infrastructure. And that's what my company was actually building.
Thank you. I said no bios, but you've done very well. You're young Africa, so I allowed you to speak. All right, let's move on very quickly. Thank you so much for the background information. Third question, please.
Thank you. I want to commend the governor for passing the law for virtual assets service providers. He complained about security, and he also complained about how we can build our credit. If you guys can give us access to your sandbox, we can securitize most of our products in Ghana, our farm produce. We use your ECDs, and that will create a collateral system for our banks to give loans to our farmers. So there are solutions that we can talk about it. And thank you.
All right, thank you. So table that. Please have that conversation with our dear brother. One more question. Well, that was more of a contribution. So let's take a question from that one.
My name is Daniel Tete Abuka, and my question is going to Oreku Asari. Yeah, so my question is very quick. Ask him if it's better opportunity to meet answers. And since we are here, it's definitely going to happen online. And one of the hardest thing or the biggest challenge in Ghana is system integrations. How online portal integrates to Ghanaian investment platform. What pragmatic step is the Bank of Ghana taking to have this result?
Thank you so much. Straight to the point. Yes, sir. Sorry, I'm in the middle column. All questions. Okay, gentlemen in the t-shirt, please don't market your company. I know what you're about to do, but you can ask your question. Out of love.
My name is James Ameko, aka GP.
I know you.
I'm from New Jersey, and I travel all the way to come here because I had the need to invest, and I know that's the field that I am. And as a Ghanaian, I love Ghana so much. I can't leave this land. What being that?
Okay, so no marketing. You have a question?
So,
if you're going to market, hang on. I will acknowledge all the marketers in the room, but let's listen to some questions, unless you have a burning question.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Wait, let me take your question.
Good evening, fellow Ghanaians. My name is Dr. Akwete Mensissoa. Well, my question, I don't know where it will go. Will Ghana government support health sector accountability in Ghana from diasporian Ghanaians?
Will it support? Okay.
Health sector accountability. Like if a doctor commits a very grievous offense, will Ghana government support those diasporian Ghanaians to create a sector in health sector that will commit that doctor into an accountability?
Okay, no problem. We'll come to that. Humbly, can we go to the questions that were raised? Mommy raised the question about skills. Sorry.
So we're getting some feedback from our brothers and sisters online, and those of us that are standing in the back, we ask them to hold their conversation to a minimum. Unfortunately, we are not able to hear one on the
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, I'll take your question and then I'll come to the floor for the answers, please.
It's happening from the World Bank.
Sorry, sir?
So the World Bank just initiated a policy, and I want Ghanaians to take advantage of it. Our president is speaking about water forward, right? And with permitting all these opportunities you want to go back home to do, because that doing a pure water business. Bottle business that you can do to refine the water that the World Bank is protecting on.
Okay.
So I don't know if the governor has any intentions of having that partnership with the World Bank to make sure that Ghanaians take advantage of this money that is being allocated. So I think that is
Okay.
we can take advantage of it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the input. All right. I'm going to actually first of all go to my dearest uncle, one of Ghana's greatest assets. Ambassador Steele Gardner. I'm going to put you on the spot here. I know you didn't intend to do this, but you've been patiently listening to everything, and you are one of the greatest economic minds. Your input, Ambassador. And I'm told you're an Achimotan, so I don't know how you feel about that. Your Excellency, some thoughts around what you're hearing here today.
Well, thank you very much. I must first begin by expressing appreciation to the governor, the central bank, and his team for the very idea itself of Ghana coming together to interact with maybe the business and financial community. The discussions are going very well. I don't know who that's asking the question. That's what I think.
You've heard the question, so you can answer any of them.
I'll rather not answer any of the questions, except to give assurances to our colleagues. Because of my current position, position of the governor, I will say a few words. I would like to appreciate the fact that most of the speakers have spoken about their desire to go back to Ghana or to invest in Ghana, and asking for assurances about the protection of their investments, and the fact that Ghanaians, one of them just feel that Ghanaians don't have enough faith or trust in Diaspora. I can only say that I used to live here myself, like many of you. Since for almost 40 years now, I lived here, then worked here before becoming ambassador of Ghana to the United States. So I've had experience in different angles. The critical issue for those of you who are Ghanaians who want to go back to Ghana to work and invest is that sometimes some level of sacrifice will be necessary. When you are earning $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, two of them want to go to Ghana and earn the same person immediately. That is often not realistic. In my case, just to give an example, I was earning $10,000 a month 30 years ago, not a long time. And I went and accepted $500 a month with the government of Ghana. How many of you are willing to do that? So that's the kind of commitment that means that you are willing to keep skin in the game. I've sacrificed that for 30 years I'm still in Ghana. in spite of that initial sacrifice. So, if you're going on a business, start a business, invest in a business. The other thing is how to unite with other people, other Ghanaians, even those here and those outside. You're not good at forming teams. That's why companies put the word TFEAMS as a platform. To do an investment properly, you need usually a financial person, sometimes an accountant, you need a legal person, you need a business-minded, commercial-minded person, and you often need an IT or technology person. Those are four critical ingredients that anybody who wants to do business must think about and look for the people here and create teams. And so if you create teams, then it becomes much easier to roll out whatever business you have in mind, commercialize it, get your customers, market it, and do business and make profits.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Your Excellency, thank you. I will make it for you for that, sir. So, Mr. Asare Oriku, it looks like you are on the hot seat for this financial market infrastructure and opportunity remittances. These questions are specific to you, and then we'll move to the last block for the last 4 questions. Yes, sir.
I think the question is how do we connect the financial service, the investment products in Ghana to diaspora to be able to seamlessly push funds into those markets. I think what is actually happening today is what the same rules is what we are going to leverage on, because today you have the capabilities to be able to move funds from your bank account, let's say Bank of America, and then push it to, I don't want to market in the IMTO, push it to any of the apps that they have, and then you send it to either the bank account or the mobile money wallets. Those managing the investment buckets, the moment the funds get into these accounts or wallets, you'll be able to move it into your specific investment account with them. Some of them, I believe, have the capabilities because of API to be able to connect the funds that you send. The moment you add that unique identifier in that channel that is pushing together, if you're able to go straight to update your account with an investment company that's managing your portfolio. So I think it's really not a problem of technology capabilities, but it's more of our willingness to be able to have access or try to be able to push or find out the products that are available in Ghana that they can invest in. And I think this is an opportunity for the banks and then the investment companies online as well as to develop products where there could be a very easy handling between the cash grants and then those investment markets. So I think it's not a problem of technology capability. It's our willingness to get into that space.
Thank you very much, my brother. Now, Ablawara, you kindly, let's move to the last block, please. And if we have any time, we can go to other questions, kindly. We promised you a 2-hour program, we're almost there.
Hi, my name is Diana. I have two
one, my dear Diana.
Okay, so my question goes to Director of FinTech and then to the Deputy Ambassador. Thank you so much for allowing Ghanaians to be this process the Ghana Council. But I, together with a friend, have had some few challenges. One is the payment.
Cowbank is on the line, so speak up so they can hear you.
Okay. So we are not able to make any payments at all. Anytime we try, we get an error. So I'm not sure what is happening.
I think that will probably be focused. Thank you so much, Diana. Our colleague, our friend from Cowbank are on the line, so I think we will make sure we can liaise with them post-event if you're satisfied with that response. Next question, kindly.
Hello, my name is Jermaine, and I'm the chairman of the Global Diaspora Council. The Global is still first, I want to thank the organizers for putting this together. The attendance speaks for itself. I came here from Houston, Texas, primarily because I knew I was going to come meet the right people to talk about the Global Diaspora and the Global Common Fund. So that, I'm not going to talk about that. I just want to ask that in Ghana, what I've noticed is that every time we want to solve a problem, we try to do it with the government. Okay, government interference, government interference with. But the question that I have is that historically, what is it that has prevented us from revamping the private sector? Because it's the private sector that's going to drive the economy in a sustainable manner and create sustainable jobs. But it looks like we've been stuck in the mindset that the government has all the answers. So my question is, how do we revamp the private sector from a mindset perspective?
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Next question, please, in that block. Please put your hand up in the last column, kindly. Nobody? All right.
Stephen Agapon, and
Sorry, sir. No.
Here's the question.
Continue, please. Continue, sir.
Stephen Agapon, and my question is, where do we go to find all the information we talked about? Like, for example, I'm looking for the requirements, capital requirements for some of the things that we talked about in the Bank of Ghana. I go online and I'm not able to find them. So where do I go to find all this information that we are talking about?
Very good. Next question, please. You have a question. Our sound man is also a Ghanaian, so he also has a question.
Yeah, right.
Romeo.
Yeah.
Come from behind the desk. There you go.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Romeo. My question centers around compliance. How is the Bank of Ghana and all dignitaries here ready for the challenge of compliance as it relates to the banking sector, specifically PCI DSS compliance, ISO 2700 compliance, and all those other compliance, and how those initiatives will create jobs for the youth, because that's a big thing right now in this country, and I think the UK and Middle East as well. How are we planning to bring that sector into Ghana so that our youth can get employed in that sector?
Question, Romeo. I saw Abla, there's a lady right behind you, right next to you. The fourth question, and then we come to the answer. I see you, sir.
My question is about I want to know what you have in place to sustain that. Because I know for Ghana, we are known as Tufa.
Oh, sister, Ghana is not known as Tufa. We have Tufa sometimes.
I don't know about this year, but when I was home, so I want to know which system do you have in place to sustain the buyers that ABC and Z is in place.
Thank you so much. When did you come to Ghana last?
Last year.
Oh, why you do? Let's answer the question. Just one moment, let's answer this question, and I promise you in 5 minutes. Where do we go to find the requirements? Anybody from Bank of Ghana can help us? So you said you went online. Okay. You went online.
Useless country.
Sorry, go ahead.
I probably it's a matter we probably have an engagement, because almost every requirement for alliances in alliance requirements are online. So we probably have to have an engagement on that. Yeah, everything that we require for you to be able to apply for alliances is online.
Okay, compliance
Okay,
question.
let me take that. We have a Cyber and Information Security Directive that mandates every entity that's applying for a license for the central bank. It's being a banking license, it's being a fintech license, any form of license. So far as you have a system integration, you're supposed to come up with PCI DSS, ISO 27001. And I like your contribution. It actually was a contribution. We need to be able, those of us in this room with that skill, we need to be able to engage or go through the process of engaging the central bank to be able to provide that services. Because the entities that are applying for the license will need your services. You know, it's up to you to be able to make yourself available
so that these entities will be able to engage you and use your services. It should be very good because of our position. We are policy entrepreneurs, so we cannot select you over another person. What we can do is to provide that environment for you to be able to come in and arbor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Magic, can I ask you to answer the question on government interference with the private sector, how we really boost it, and electric vehicle industry as well?
Yes. And did I hear right? Was it about government interference in the private sector? Government intervention. Okay, there's not intervention in the private sector. So, Ghana has a unique private sector, and it's something that's been growing over years. And if you look at the entrepreneurial spirit of many Ghanaians, it shows that really people do well in the private sector. There are areas that Ghanaians, have learned the trade and they're actually doing well. And I'll give you an example. So, for instance, if you take in the manufacturing sector, or in the beverage industry, those who were suppliers to companies like Coca-Cola have over time understood the market, and now they're actually competing. So if you come to the beverage sector, you have local giants, we talk of Casapreco, you have individual companies that are setting up their own cola products. So it's the patience to learn through the structures, and then finally they are able to take over or really compete like everybody. Now the question is, what is government doing? So government is offering incentives to anybody who is interested in the manufacturing sector. The tariff for importing your plant equipment, machinery, raw materials, spare parts is 5%. The tariff itself is 5%. So we can deal with the levies. That one, the governor is here, he will carry that burden. But the tariff itself is just 5%. So that's part of the way that government is helping you to really boost your business. There's also the component. In the previous administration, they had 1-1. But we are talking about transitioning the Ghanaian economy into a 24-hour working cycle. And what's the promise to help you to do that transition? Is to take, your import duties on your plant equipment, machinery, is to help you with out of regular use electricity tariffs. And also, His Excellency the President has indicated that we are going to create special custom processes, what we call the economic operator, where if you get to the port, you can clear your goods because you are in the green lane or you've been certified. All of this is to help the private sector. The President has said that when it comes to the private sector, he wears no political color, because at the end of the day, we want to build on this GDP of 130 billion to go it further. And who wants to do that but the private sector? Our only appeal to you is take advantage of the opportunities that exist in Ghana, because it is open to you and it's open to everyone. So there are no impediments in the ways of the private sector. Recently, we've had a Ghanaian who's been in the mining services actually take over a mine to run it as many foreigners have done. This is one of the testaments to the fact that we are moving our own people into the major areas of economic activities, and they can actually participate. If you look at the continent of Africa, people have spoken about Dangote, people have spoken about OCP. I'll end very soon. This is the objective. The objective is to build the local businesses that are strong enough to compete around the continent and to compete around the world. We want to see more of the Casapercos, we want to see more of the beverage companies, we want to see more of the construction companies. So impediments, every government agrees that the private sector should be left alone, and that's exactly what's happening.
I wanted you to touch quickly on the electronic or the electric.
Yes, and Madam spoke about the fact that we don't have power. So the policy is to build about 1,000 charging stations. You have to start at some point. What is happening with electricity is about investment, and the state is investing to not just expand it, but to make it available, affordable, and reliable. These three things, and you can see it across everywhere. Because what is the goal here? Without electricity, really, you can't have any strong industrialization. We now have maybe close to 4,000 megawatts. The intention is to get to 10,000, so there will be enough power even for the 24-hour economy. So, rest assured, definitely you can't charge your electric vehicles. But my point is, if you don't take advantage of it now,
and you wait till tomorrow, tomorrow may be too late because there are already companies that are, assembling either completely knocked down or semi-knocked down electric vehicles in Ghana and motorcycles. So if you wait too long, you may just miss the boat. And when you came, I hope you visited, is it one the lady that's doing the scooter, and you will see the opportunities already in our country. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I literally have 1 minute and 30 seconds for this session. The gentleman in the hat, your hand has been up for quite some time. Sir, the floor is all yours for the next minute. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's on, please.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
My name is Wilfred Aluma. You all can see right now. We are very happy today that this convention is coming. Why am I saying this? During my youth days, I wanted to take the first place in the data transportation. That's the job I did when I was young. Two organizations that make this transportation help the transportation for elderly people. Why? Because of corruption. Corruption. If you go to somebody to help, they want you to put your pocket before they can help you to help Ghana. Very, very. Secondly, if delegates like this in Ghana, if they go to Ghana to see what we have learned here to University of Ghana, they leave everything. And if you go there to talk about it, or you think you are only from America, you think you are only from Britain, we are doing our best. I want to ask my delegates here, governor and our some of us here, we can't go to the government ourselves to ask anything or tell them anything that we will have already to them. What are they going to do about this trust of the corruption? The corruption that is too much is disgracing Ghana. It makes all these investment people we can do something. But if you go there now, you will fly. You have to be disgraced. If you have a friend here to send to Ghana for any investment, they will disgrace you because of corruption. So please, I'm not going to talk much. Me, myself, I'm over. But my children are there, my children are there. Coming up. You have to build Ghana for them, not me. Today, as I'm saying, I'm out. And we are trying to make the generation survive. Thank you.
I dare say we would not come to the end of the interaction session in a better way. I hope we ask some questions in the house. When we are done and wrapped up, our colleagues will still be here. Please feel free to interact with them, otherwise we won't leave. And respectfully, we do have to close our session today. May I humbly ask, Ambassador Steele Gabra, you had said you needed to say a few words. I'll be happy to give you 2 minutes, sir. Would you like to come on stage or would you like to speak over there? And then after that, we wrap up with closing remarks and key takeaways, next steps, which will be given to us by the Governor of the Bank of Ghana. Panelists, you are free to step down if you are comfortable. Thank you very much. A round of applause for our panelists.
Thank you very much. Let me first again appreciate
And then you can
to the governor,
especially
also inviting me to say a few words here. At this time, I'm speaking in my capacity as the President's Special Envoy, Great relations, I think, have become better known about since our President took the initiative to go to the United Nations, organize, partake in a resolution in favor of those that the slave trade, the biggest crime against money. Now, all that we are speaking about here, to summarize, constitute ideas, proposals, positions, and efforts of many of us to improve our country. We are trying to improve our country for many reasons. One of the fundamental ones is the fact that some people, mostly Europeans, came to our continent 300, 400, 500 years ago, since the days of John David and Zambuja and other so-called Portuguese explorers. And amongst many other things, decided to export from our country many of our great-grandfathers, great-grandmothers, etc. And many of whom then came to the United States, went to the Caribbean, went to Brazil, did a lot of hard work to build what we now know as the United States of America. So if we are talking about this country, we should forget that it was built on the backs of Africans and people of African descent. So the president decided that on the 18th and 19th of June, there should be a conference on reparations where representatives of at least the 123 countries who voted in favor of the UN resolution, and possibly even some of the 50 or more countries that abstained, that did not vote for, and even representatives from the United States, not necessarily the US government, as the US Prime Minister and other people, to assemble in Ghana and to discuss a plan of action to take hold of the declaration of Ghana. From my point of view, having worked here as ambassador, as I mentioned, also I was at the World Bank in Africa. So the issue of finance and funding is part of there are many of the products that are being discussed here, which are being discussed with the governor and finance minister, which can lead to what we call the foundational products, the whole slew of them. So whether they are infrastructure, whether they are construction, whether they are energy, we intend at some point in the conference agrees to use any range of product that will be traditions that is informed around the government affairs, the cash in the pocket, food that some people think they're going to get. How we can develop our country, going back to those countries that enslaved us and colonized us, who are beginning to agree that yes, there are some errors and some faults and some crimes. So that the Germans, for example, have agreed to pay $1.1 billion to the railroad strikes of Namibia. The Dutch have agreed to pay $220 million. That's the start for some of the British government, of course, a lot more reticent, but their kings and queens and royalty are beginning to apologize and think of how to repair the damage. The French have agreed to pass a law that also acknowledges the Islamic leadership. They had specific experiences in Haiti and some home countries that are also ongoing to today. So it's a very big subject. I don't want to go into too much detail, but reparations at its core is very transcontinental. It is transnational, it's multilateral,
So how you do that?
it's multi-ethnic, it's psychology, and it is geological, it is geographical, it's historical, it's many dimensions. All of these have products and services contained in them. And this is where I think the Bank of Ghana and financial institutions can think through, the thing that I said, how we can come back to the original product and services, present those who could be our partners, who from even now think they are giving us Build or rebuild our continent global development. Now that's something we encourage the idea of the establishment of a global recognition fund. Because we have $1 billion product. You don't know where to place.
I think
there are many other things that some of you have come up with. We can discuss this. Get to
I think we should be able to
that we all. Thank you.
Excellency Ambassador Kirigaba, thank you very much. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you very much. Let me start by thanking everyone for coming. You know the notice was short. We came for the spring meetings and we thought we should kill two birds with one stone, and that's why we hurriedly put together this meeting. Now, let me clarify that, like I mentioned earlier, diaspora issues are very vast, right? So His Excellency the President is addressing a lot of them. For us at the Bank of Ghana, our concern is about the channels. Because we want you to use the formal channel, right? I do understand you give a few dollars to a friend, to somebody, that is fine. But when it comes to the significant sums, it is safer when you use the formal channel. We are developing the different channels that we can use. They are the bank, they are the FTOs, they are the fintechs. We are making sure that when you remit your funds, one, the cost will be minimal. Two, there will be safety. And in addition to that, we are asking that we think of investment back home. One of the people that was going to speak, but due to lack of time, he cannot speak, is Mr. Pini. Very passionate. It's someone who has invested in Ghana, lived in Ghana all his life. I wanted him to share, so you get to understand how some people are managing this. For us at the central bank, we'll continue to create. My brother was talking about what we can do for the private sector. Before 2025, just think of the macroeconomic environment. It was just not favorable for the private sector. And so we have set to work together with the Ministry of Finance, trying to create the appropriate macroeconomic environment. And all the states are linked. Inflation, exchange rate, what have you. Personally, my passion is about the lending rates, right? Lending rates. How to get people to lend lower, much lower than this. And also to be able to borrow money, for a longer period of time. That will address, the private sector issues to a large extent. Of course, the issues about taxation, our sister spoke about high duty. All right, the Minister of Finance is very much aware of that. All those will be addressed when there's stability. But one issue I want to highlight, one of the speakers was mentioning what they can do back home. The fact that sometimes when they go, they don't feel welcome. We have a hospital. It's called the bank hospital. Some of you have known it. Located in Cantonment there. We put it up back in 2016, about 2016. It used to be a clinic that we had at Reach. We had a small clinic where our staff, were being treated first aid and all that. But then we decided to scale it up. And the idea then was that Ghanaians travel for certain services. We go to India, we go to Turkey, and we're saying, if we can complement what Kolibu does with some of those high-end services, one will be conserving what foreigners do. But the Ghanaian is going to India, he's not going to spend cities with the same dollars. So that thinking was what brought about the bank hospital. Now it is there, it was completed, it's functioning all right. But last year, we decided to, look at it again. And we said, why don't we have a kidney, center? Because kidney issues are becoming very prevalent in Ghana. It's not our core function. That's not where we operate. But we just say, why don't we do it? And somehow we got two Americans who agreed to just come and do surgery. We asked that we give them ticket, we give them a nice place to stay, all that. They didn't chance. And so only last year, the doctor was telling me, they've done about 8 surgeries successfully. And those gentlemen are prepared to come at least twice a year. So my question is, can we get some Ghanaians willing to do this? Once it becomes a successful center, then we can be charging. So that what is due you, we can pay you.
I am investing into it from today.
So I just want to say in closing that aside the remittance channel for which we came here, the other one we will plead with you is when you have any relevant skill, don't get tired. Keep knocking on the doors. All right? Engage. The GIBC CEO is right here. Take his contact. If you intend to invest in Ghana, hit his contact. And then through him or through one of us, you'll get somewhere. My sister who spoke about the payment, the difficulty with payment through counter. Just send me an email.
Yeah, 11 something.
Just write me a letter.
Yeah.
Everything you said goes to my table. So just send a letter and tell me what problem you are having with any bank. You can be sure we'll get it resolved. All right. So take our contacts. Feel free. If there's anything we can do, that is why we are back home. We are ready and willing to help. We believe that Ghana can do far better than we are doing currently. And so for us as Bank of Ghana, that is our resolve. Let me take the opportunity to thank everyone, Her Excellency, the Ambassador, all the senior people that came, and yourself for spending your time with us. Yes, we are back home. If you are in town, please approach us. Any of our programs, let us know. There's any issue we are willing to resolve it. So thank you very much.
Mr. Governor, we have a presentation that will be done to you. Please put your hands together for our round. Please approach the governor with his flowers. And as our wonderful young lady does, I'm going to say that, of course, you know that the Diaspora Engagement and Remittance Facilitation Office is open at the head office, Adam to Johnny Morte. It is part of that. Adam, let's see where you are. So, yeah, come to you. Mr. Governor has got his beautiful flowers. I want to say a special thank you to his team. Lawrence, you've done a great job. Where's Boss Party? We thank you. Angela, we thank you. The POG team, where are you? Wave at us. The POG team, we are immensely grateful. Make time to be with us. Our embassy team, where are you? Embassy team, I can see you. Wave. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, the Deputy Ambassador, we thank you for sitting through this. This is definitely an investment in Ghana. And as we go to the Volta region for a minute, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anita and I am a proud Ghanaian. It's very, very proud Ghanaian. And I just want to say on behalf of all of us that this new age, this new opportunity is for us. And African prosperity is in our hands. The Africa we want can never be created again by anybody who is not born of Africa or in Africa. Your time is now. Have a wonderful evening.
Don't worry, I'm here. I'm just inviting.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone.
It would be a crime not to thank everybody. Thank for your time, powerful you all were from other parts of the country. Thank you for coming, thank you for giving time. Professor Pierre, thank you so much. Again, thank you, Professor. I will thank you. I will be thanking all the organizations I will thank our thanks to Sheila. Really appreciate and the whole